Книги Кодзирай-Б. Я их никогда не открывала.
Книги Кодзирай-Б. Я их никогда не открывала. Which translates as I have never opened the books of Кодзирай-Би. Книги Кодзирай-Б. Which translates as Кодзирай-Би books. Я не открывала. I didn't open. Я их никогда не открывала. I have never opened them. Or I have never opened the books. Их. This is a pronoun that translates to them in English. It refers back to the books mentioned earlier, indicating that the speaker is talking about these specific books. Никогда не открывала. Never opened. Не открывала. This is a negative form of the verb открывать, which means to open. The word не negates the verb. So, не открывала translates to she didn't open. Feminine gender is used here because the word открывала ends in la. Открывала. The verb is in the past tense, indicating that the action did not occur at any time before now.
Японские детективы.
Японские детективы, which translates as and Japanese detectives. Детективы. This is a plural form of the noun detective, which means detective novels in English.
Женщина улыбалась.
Женщина улыбалась, which translates as the woman was smiling. Женщина, the woman, улыбалась. This is a past tense form of the verb улыбаться, which means to smile. The ending ась, улыбал, ась indicates that the action of smiling was performed by a female subject in the past.
И ее улыбка от чего-то была мне до жути знакома.
И ее улыбка от чего-то была мне до жути знакома, which translates as and her smile was somehow frighteningly familiar to me. Была знакома, which means was familiar. Знакома. This is a past tense form of the adjective знакомый, which means familiar. It indicates that something is recognized or known. Ее улыбка, her smile, ее. This is a possessive pronoun, meaning her. It indicates that the smile belongs to a female person. Улыбка. This word means smile. От чего-то была мне знакома, which translates as was somehow familiar to me. От чего-то. This phrase can be translated as for some reason or for some unknown reason. It suggests that there is an inexplicable feeling or thought related to the smile. До жути. This phrase translates to the point of fright or very much. It emphasizes the intensity of the familiarity felt by the speaker. Ее улыбка, her smile, была знакома, was familiar.
Была мне до жути знакома. Я подумал, что если смогу запечатлеть ее в голове...
Я подумал, что если смогу запечатлеть ее в голове, which translates as I thought that if I could capture her in my head. Я подумал, which means I thought. Подумал. This is a past tense form of the verb подумать, which means to think. The ending L means that the action took place in the past and was committed by a male person. So, я подумал translates to I thought, что если, which means what if, but in this context it can also be translated to that if. It introduces a subordinate clause, indicating what the speaker thought. Смогу запечатлеть ее, which means I could capture her. Смогу. This is a future tense form of the verb смочь, which means to be able to, or I can do it. The ending у, смогу, denotes a completed action in the future that the speaker has performed. Запечатлеть ее, which means to capture her. Запечатлеть. This verb means to capture or to imprint. In this context, it refers to the idea of mentally capturing or remembering something vividly. В голове. This phrase translates to in my head.
Что если смогу запечатлеть ее в голове, мне удастся наконец безмятежно заснуть.
Мне удастся наконец безмятежно заснуть, which translates as I will finally manage to fall asleep peacefully, or I'll be able to sleep peacefully this time. Мне удастся, which means I'll be able to. Мне. This is a dative case of the pronoun я, I, meaning to me. Удастся, which means to be able to. Мне удастся заснуть. I'll be able to fall asleep. Заснуть. This verb means to fall asleep. It is in its infinitive form. Безмятежно. This adverb means peacefully or calmly. It describes the manner in which the action will take place. Безмятежно заснуть, which means to fall asleep peacefully.
Ведомый этой странной мыслью.
Ведомый этой странной мыслью, which translates as guided by this strange thought. Ведомый мыслью, which means guided by thought or led by thought. Ведомый. This is a past participle form of the verb ведомый, which means led or guided. It implies that the subject is being influenced or directed by something. Мыслью. This is an instrumental case of the noun мысль, which means thought. The instrumental case is used here to indicate the means by which someone is guided. Странной мыслью translates to strange thought.
Я шаг за шагом подходил к ней все ближе.
Я шаг за шагом подходил к ней все ближе, which translates as I approached her step by step, getting closer and closer. Я подходил, which means I approached, подходил. This is a past tense of the verb подходить, which means to approach or to come closer. The ending L means that the action took place in the past and was committed by a male person. Шаг за шагом. This phrase translates to step by step. It indicates a gradual approach or movement. Подходил к ней, which means I approached her. К ней. This means to her, referring to a person or possibly an object in this context. Все ближе. This translates to closer and closer. It emphasizes the idea of getting nearer over the time.
Подходил к ней все ближе. Это бриллиант?
Это бриллиант, which translates as Is this a diamond?
Настоящий, что ли?
Настоящий, что ли? Which translates as Is it real? Or is it genuine? Настоящий. This word means real or genuine. It describes the noun, in this case diamond. Что ли? This is a colloquial expression often used in Russian to add a sense of uncertainty or to seek confirmation. It can be translated in English as is it or really, and it conveys that the speaker is surprised or questioning the information.
Землетрясение?
Землетрясение, which translates as Is this an earthquake?
О,
Доброе утро.
фига мешки.
Фига мешки. This translates as What the heck are those bags? Or What the heck, you have such a big bags under your eyes. Мешки. In Russian there is a word bags, мешки, that can mean two things. The first meaning is bags under the eyes, or baggy skin below the eyes, or dark circles, which are puffiness under the eyes. This can happen due to fatigue or stress. The second meaning is carrying bags, which we use to store and transport things, such as bags or backpacks. These two meanings are completely different. One is related to a person's appearance, and the other is related to the objects we use in everyday life. Фига мешки. Фига. This is an informal expression used to express surprise, disbelief, or emphasis. It doesn't have a direct translation, but can be thought of it as what the heck or wow.
Мешки. Последнее время совсем паршиво сплю.
Последнее время совсем паршиво сплю, which translates as Lately I've been sleeping really poorly. Сплю. This is the first person singular form of the verb спать, which means to sleep. So сплю и я сплю means the same thing. I sleep. Последнее время. This phrase means lately or recently. It refers to a period of time that has been ongoing. Совсем паршиво. Really poorly. Совсем. Really. Паршиво. Poorly.
Время совсем паршиво сплю.
А я допоздна книжку читала.
А я допоздна книжку читала, which translates as And I was reading the book until late. Я читала, which means I was reading. Я, I. Читала. This is a past tense, feminine singular form of the verb читать, which means to read. The ending la in the word читала means that the action took place in the past and was performed by a female. Я читала книжку. I was reading a book. Книжку. This is accusative form of книжка, which means book. The diminutive form suggests a sense of familiarity or affection, translating to little book or simply a book. Читала допоздна, which means I was reading until late. Допоздна. This adverb means until late or late into the night. It describes the time during which the action took place.
Читала.
Какую книжку? Интересную?
Ага.
Какую книжку? Интересную? Which translates as Which book? Interesting? Какую книжку? Which book? Интересную? Interesting?
Ага, детективчик. Кстати, Кода, может, вы знаете, где в Коулуне торгуют японскими книгами?
Может, вы знаете, где в Кowloon торгуют японскими книгами? Which translates as Maybe you know where they sell Japanese books in Kowloon. Вы знаете, which means you know. Может, вы знаете. Maybe you know. Вы знаете. This translates to you know. Вы is the formal or plural form of you. And знаете is the second person plural form of the verb знать, which means to know. Торгуют. This verb means trade or sell. It is in the present tense third person plural form, indicating that there are people, they, who are selling. So the word торгуют can be translated as they trade or they sell. Японскими книгами. This translates to Japanese books.
Не торгуют японскими книгами.
А?
А то у меня только первый том из двух, и...
А то у меня только первый том из двух. Which translates as otherwise I only have the first volume out of two. And у меня, which means I have. Первый том, which means the first volume. Первый, the first. Том, volume. А то. This phrase can be translated as otherwise. It introduces a consequence or reason for the following statement. Только первый том. Only the first volume. Только. This word translates to only. It emphasizes that the speaker has a limited amount of something. Из двух. This means out of two or of two. It indicates that there are two volumes in total.
С двух, и я его уже прочитала.
И я его уже прочитала. Which translates as and I have already read it. Я прочитала. I have read. Прочитала. This is a past tense form of the verb прочитать, which means to read. The ending la indicates that the speaker is female. Уже прочитала, which means already read. Его. This is a pronoun it or him. In this context, it refers to a book.
Интересно же, чем все закончится.
Интересно же, чем все закончится. Which translates as it's interesting after all how everything will end. Все закончится, which means everything will end. Все. This translates to everything or all. Закончится. This is the future tense form of the verb закончится, which means to end or to finish. It suggests that there is an upcoming conclusion to a situation. Интересно. It's interesting. Чем все закончится? How everything will end. Интересно же, чем все закончится? It's interesting after all how everything will end.
Даже чем все закончится?
Ну, есть один книжный.
Ну, есть один книжный. Well, there is one book related. Есть. Which means there is книжный. A bookstore. Один книжный. One bookstore. Один. This word translates to one or a. It indicates that we're talking about a single item. Ну, есть один книжный. Well, there is one book related.
Чё, не устраивает, что я с вами пошла?
Чё, не устраивает, что я с вами пошла? Which translates as What, are you not okay with the fact that I went with you? Не устраивает. This phrase translates to It doesn't suit or isn't acceptable. The verb устраивать means to suit or to arrange, and when negated with не, it indicates that something is not satisfactory. Я пошла, which means I went. Пошла. This is a past tense form of the verb пойти, which means to go. In this context, it indicates that the speaker went somewhere with the listeners. The ending la in the word пошла means that the action was done in the past and is feminine gender. С вами. This translates to with you. It indicates that the speaker is talking about themselves, being with the listeners.
Шла.
Да я ж ни слова не сказал.
Я ж ни слова не сказал. I didn't say a word. Я не сказал. I didn't say. Сказал. This is a past tense form of the verb сказать, which means to say. In this context, it indicates that the action of speaking did not occur. The ending L in the word сказал means that the action was done in the past and is in masculine gender. Ни слова не сказал. Didn't say a word. Ни слова. This phrase translates to not a word. Ни means not or no. And слово is the genitive singular form of слово, which means word. Together they indicate that the speaker did not say anything at all.